version for your Friday evening since the Braves are playing baseball on WBRC. I'm First Alert meteorologist Lauren Linehan with this little quick edition we'll have of Weather Extra for tonight. So I wanted to pull up what we have been tracking right now. We've got some storms that are moving through central Alabama, and these storms that we're watching, we actually have one severe thunderstorm warning in place. Well, there was one. Let's see, has it faded away? No, I think it's still there. Yes, there we go. Well, actually it just faded away. So these are the storms that we're watching. This storm that is moving through Tuscaloosa County, it did have a severe thunderstorm warning on it earlier, potentially was producing some hail as it was moving through Tuscaloosa and into Northport, but now that warning has expired. We'll zoom in to get a better view of this storm where we could possibly still be seeing some small hail that is falling. So this is north of Tuscaloosa in areas where you're seeing the cloud to ground lightning around Loganwood, Appling Bend. You want to make sure you are inside when thunder roars go indoors, and this storm potentially has a history of producing hail. So some very heavy downpours right now pushing north through Tuscaloosa County and possibly that small hail as well. And then we look back closer to the city of Tuscaloosa, and you can just see along the Black Warrior River stretching over to Alpine Hills some very heavy downpours that are pushing north. So first alert for areas like Coker, Samantha, Wiley. This is going to be headed your way. And then a little further to the east, we also have some additional development that has developed in Bibb County. You can see around Woodstock, north of Centerville, near Piper, West Blockton. We have another thunderstorm that could be producing some intense cloud to ground lightning as it pushes to the north. So if you've got to travel along I-20, maybe you're going from Birmingham to Tuscaloosa this evening, be mindful that as you're traveling through areas like Tuscaloosa County, you could be running into some heavy thunderstorms. And so those are going to be lifting northward here as we go into the evening. As we look a little further to the north, the activity is more isolated. But what I want you to note on these storms that are moving through Bibb and Tuscaloosa County, notice this little light line that's showing up here on radar. That would indicate that we've got an outflow boundary. You've got those colder winds coming out of the storm and they're pushing into that warm, humid air. So what could end up happening is that we could see more downstream development, potentially areas like Alabaster, Hoover, Birmingham, possibly up into Jasper, areas like Barry, Fayette. So definitely if you are north of these storms, I want you to make sure you're staying alert this evening for the possibility of those storms to move through. If we actually zoom into the Birmingham area, we had looked outside here at Red Mountain. It was like, kind of looks foggy. It was actually, there was rain falling. And so we're seeing a little thunderstorm now right along Highway 280. This is kind of near that 459 junction near Acton Road and the Cahaba Cliffs, right around Grandview. Some heavy downpours and some lightning, of course, that would ultimately probably lead to some delays along the roadway. So as we get a look here at those weather headlines that we're tracking, we'll take the screen full now so you can see a better view of what we're tracking as we go into the weekend. Well, there's still going to be some rain in the forecast, but we've got that seasonable summer heat as well. Also some scattered storms around at times, and when the storms aren't around, of course, it's going to be hot and humid, but more seasonably hot and humid. We are generally, though, looking potentially to trend drier for the 4th, which, believe it or not, is this time next week. Hard to believe, but looking at First Alert AccuTrack right now, we're just continuing to watch some scattered storms around. You'll also notice there's actually a delay at the Braves game in Atlanta on WBRC that we're broadcasting, so make sure you tune in after checking here on Weather Extra. You'll notice there are some thunderstorms around the Atlanta Metro and the northern Atlanta Metro, and that's actually where the Braves Stadium is. So if you've ever been to the Braves Stadium up in Cobb County around Marietta, that's where you could be seeing those issues at Truist Park. So if you have any friends or family who are at the Braves game, make sure that they know when thunder roars to go indoors. So if you have a storm around, it can help to cool you off. Temperatures have dropped into the 70s in Tuscaloosa. The rest of us, though, steamy in the 80s, but much more seasonable. So just going to continue to see as we go into the weekend that potential for some scattered storms around at times. Saturday nor Sunday is going to be a washout, but make sure you have that First Alert weather app set to receive notifications if you do happen to get a severe thunderstorm warning, or it can just give you notifications about the possibility of some downpours like rain nearby or some lightning. And that's why we always say when thunder roars, go indoors. So looking ahead to the weekend, you know, we've are likely going to have a few storms around today. I wanted to show you the Skeeter meter. I feel like even as I talk about it, I start itching a little bit. Look at that Skeeter meter for the weekend. I think we'll kind of be in that medium territory Saturday and Sunday. You know, a lot of this week, it wasn't widespread storm activity that we were dealing with. So we did have that overnight rain that we saw within the past 48 hours. But I think the mosquito activity will kind of be in that medium territory. Could potentially get a little higher, though, as we go into early next week. We do have a first alert for some higher rain coverage as we get into your Monday and Tuesday. But if you're going to be going to the Thomas Rhett concert tonight at the Coca-Cola Amphitheater, which kicks off at 7:30, we are tracking the potential for maybe those storms to the south in Tuscaloosa and Bibb County, possibly moving towards the Birmingham metro. So if you're headed that way, make sure you have the poncho, umbrella, whatever they allow in the stadium, just in case you do see that potential for some storms around. And then eventually rain chances tapering off this evening. If you're an early bird and want to get your weekend started at Pepper Place Farmers Market in the morning, I think we should be dry to start the day. Of course, it's going to be warm and humid already by 11 o'clock, getting into the mid 80s. So it's definitely going to be quite a warm, I say warm, hot weekend. We're officially in summer. Now, I did want to give you an update on the tropics. There is an area we're watching. You know, the Atlantic Basin has been very quiet. We did have Andrea earlier in the week, but now that that is dissipated, there is one additional area we need to watch. There's this disorganized area of low pressure of showers and thunderstorms that has developed in the Western Caribbean and is moving over the Yucatan Peninsula. If this can hold together as it moves over land and eventually emerges in the Bay of Campeche, there is a chance, right now it's a low chance, but the possibility we could maybe see some tropical development over the next week in the Western Gulf. Now, if we do see something that ends up being more weak, bottom line, it's just going to be bringing some tropical moisture into the Western Gulf. So areas like Texas may be seeing heightened rain chances over the next week. We're still going to be seeing a chance of scattered showers and storms, but it doesn't really have anything to do with the Gulf. Well, this comes as North Carolina lawmakers reached a deal on Thursday to pass a recovery package worth $500 million for victims of Helene. But some lawmakers say they're concerned about fairness in this package. Laura Leslie reports.
Lindsay Prather represents Buncombe County, one of those hardest hit by Helene last fall. She said the latest relief package shortchanges her predominantly Democratic county, almost as if it just got left off the list.
I hope that this isn't politicization of recovery. It's hard not to read it that way.
Representative Carl Gillespie said Republican leaders did the best they could with the money they had to spend.
Yes, rest assured that we paid absolutely no attention to where anything was located in regards to whose district it was in, what town it was in. That's relevant.
Representative Dean Arp said it was unfair to question the motives of the leaders who wrote the bill.
People are hurting. We're trying to provide that relief as we're able to do so.
But Prather says a college in her district with millions of dollars in damage got no help, while a college in another county with no physical damage received millions. House Democratic leader Robert Reeves said it certainly looks like politics played a role.
If there's anything here that should be nonpartisan, not bipartisan, that should be nonpartisan, it is recovery in this situation.
And so looking at that super 7-day forecast, you know, my heart rate's going a little bit. We just had lightning strike right outside of the station. Of course, almost instantaneously, the thunder was so loud it shook the studio. So it's just one little pop-up storm outside. This is just a testament to when you have so much heat and humidity in the atmosphere, these storms can be mean business as they're moving through. So we'll still watch out for an isolated severe threat. Now, as we head into the weekend, again, we're seeing a scattered chance of storms each day. The deal is, though, we're kind of at that more seasonable heat and humidity. High temperatures will be near 90 degrees, but when you factor in the humidity, the heat index would more so be in the upper 90s. So not into that heat advisory territory that we had been seeing. Now, if you are going to be hanging out at the pool any day this weekend, just make sure, of course, you're wearing sunscreen. Definitely staying hydrated with that emotional support water bottle in hand, and have that first alert weather app set to receive notifications because you could get those pop-up storms. It's not going to be a washout any day. Right now, Monday and Tuesday look to be the days with the highest rain coverage, and then potentially as we get a little closer to the 4th of July, seeing the possibility of some slightly drier weather in the forecast. So we'll see how that turns out for us, though. Before we send you off into your Friday evening, a look at those viewer photos. A beautiful sunset. Wow, you almost want to paint that. Sent in from Becky McAnally. Thank you so much for sending that in. A lot of these have been sent in on the First Alert weather app. This was sent in from our friend Ryan Cartier. Sunset in Birmingport. Absolutely gorgeous views there. And then another sunset in Gadsden, sent in from Joris Rolls. Beautiful views. I just love those pink hues. Jeff and Tiffany Bice caught a rainbow in Briarfield. Man, that has some great symmetry to it. And if you squint, you can see that was actually a double rainbow. And then Thomas, hey, giving some Thomas Kincaid vibes with this sunset on Lake Hayden. Absolutely gorgeous. Well, this weekend, y'all just make sure y'all are staying safe. This lightning is nothing to mess around with. Even though the severe threat is very low, a storm doesn't have to be severe to be impactful. Stay cool, and Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt will have updates on your forecast tonight after baseball. In the meteorologist Lauren Linehan. Have a safe and happy weekend ahead.